Hi, it's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials as well as give a lot of baking business tips. So today I'm going to be showing you a very realistic vlog style baking journey.
I am not that excited. No, I'm kidding. I'm excited for the quality time that we're going to spend together, but I'm not excited to do the things that I'm going to do.
Remember the first real big time that we baked together and it was 12 hours?
Yep.
Yep, you ain't seen nothing yet.
My calculations are pretty spot on now that I've done this enough times. So although I shared the task list with Aliya, I don't really think that she knew exactly how long it was going to take. I knew that by myself it would take a solid 48 hours, so we managed to get that down to about 20 hours. And I should preface this by saying that a lot of things were made in advance, but there was still a ton of other stuff that we had to do. This was a Friday evening, which meant that I had been teaching all day. It was the day before spring break started, and Aliya had been at school all day to finish up getting her red seal. So we weren't exactly starting fresh, we were actually starting pretty tired. Prior to this moment, I had done a 2-hour workout and Aliya had done a 2-hour nap. So we had hoped that that would be enough to get us through. So the first thing that I started with was I was making the macarons, and I always start with macarons first if they're on the list of things to do, because once you make them, they can set for a very, very long time, and the longer they set, the better. The only downside is that they take up a lot of space, because obviously I have to lay them flat as they're setting. While I was making the macarons, Aliya was getting everything ready for the madeleines, which meant that she was grating a lot of orange zest. And one of the things that she said to me was she wasn't used to using zests that weren't pre-made. I didn't even realize that in pastry school, apparently they actually have all the zests already ready to go for you. By the way, there will actually be full-length tutorials of all of the desserts that are featured in this video, but for today, we're just showing you the nitty-gritty behind-the-scenes stuff that we do. And I will say that all of this does take significantly longer because both Aliya and I are creating content as we're baking. So if you were actually just making desserts, you'd probably be able to shave off about an hour because you wouldn't be having to set up angles. I was going to be really ambitious and make different types of macarons. Like I was going to make Ariel macarons and Sebastian macarons, but then I decided, you know what? I have macaron towers that I think would just look better with the round macarons, and it'll also take a lot less time. I should also take this time to mention that nobody actually asked me to make all of these desserts. All my sister asked for was a birthday cake for her daughter, and I decided to go above and beyond because whenever I have a break, I always want to do over-the-top things, which has resulted in my niece receiving the most over-the-top birthday stuff because her birthday always falls at spring break. During this time, Aliya and I were listening to a lot of music. We don't actually share a lot of musical interests. I've decided she really loves classic rock and I am all about pop, but we switched back and forth and I really learned a lot about her musical taste. I want to take this time to acknowledge how cool it is to actually work with Aliya. Both her and I worked at the same bakery for a little while. She has worked there for much longer than I have now in years, and there was a little bit of overlap where we worked together. But what is very, very cool about Aliya is that I met her when she was about 14 years old, maybe even a little bit younger, and she already had such a gift for cake decorating back then. Now, she's also well on her way to becoming a full pastry chef with her red seal, which is phenomenal, especially considering her age. She's 19 years old, and to be able to have racked up that many hours in the baking industry, enough to the point where she can actually get her red seal, is a huge, huge accomplishment. Now, this isn't a sponsored video, but this cookie company did send me a bunch of different mixes, and this was the perfect time for me to start using it because when I can, I will cut corners. So I had this really great idea to create these sand dollar cookies. I've used this mix before, so I knew that it would bake really, really thinly, which was perfect for a sand dollar cookie. And you can really do this with any cookie mix that you might have on hand as long as there's no chunks in it. You can also use your own cookie recipe as well. Yeah, that's probably some of the last moments where you actually see us perky and happy in this part of the video, but that is what the bubble tea is for, to keep us going. I either need an ice cap or I need a bubble tea. So it was taking me forever to get all of those sugar cookies laid out, and while I was doing that, Aliya was working on those sand dollar cookies, and see, she places those almonds nice and close. They will kind of go apart from each other as they bake out, and these turned out so delicious. I mean, the cookie mix to begin with is quite good, but with those almonds on there, it was just the perfect amount of crunch, and it wasn't too sweet at all. This is where we started to run into a few kitchen space issues. As you can see, I had a lot of containers all stacked up, but it was because we had the macarons everywhere, and then they were in the middle of baking, and then I had the sugar cookies everywhere, and you can't just place sugar cookies stacked on top of each other because, of course, we're decorating them. So I was focusing on getting all of the sugar cookie decorating done while Aliya ate some more chicken and got the macarons all filled. And we were filling them with a whole bunch of different things. We were filling them with salted caramel, strawberry compote, and Nutella, though of course not all in the same one. And in this shot here, I'm just showing Aliya how to do it. She actually got very frustrated with using that Sultan tip, so perhaps I should make a video specifically on how to use that to fill macarons. This is Aliya getting the cake all ready. Our general plan was to get everything crumb coated and in the fridge and everything baked and filled. That way we could spend the next day just focused on packaging and decorating.
I feel sleep deprived.
I guess I lied earlier. She still looks perky, but the truth is coming out. And I will say that by this time, I think we had for sure surpassed that midnight point. The dishes were also piling up, and there was barely any space both in the main kitchen and the baking kitchen. And this generally happens because when I bake by myself, I'm really careful about how many dishes I'm using. But I understand that not everyone would understand my system. Aliya went to bed at around 3 a.m. and then I stayed up an extra half hour to finish those cookies and to kind of get things a little bit more tidied up for the next day. Final day of baking. Aliya is still here. She slept over. We worked until 3:30 in the morning. She went to bed a little bit earlier, but 3:30 in the morning, and then I woke up at 8 to go to the gym. So I went to the gym, worked out for about an hour and a half. Now I'm back. I need to eat something, and then we're gonna get going.
So it's the next morning. I didn't sleep until
Like I mentioned earlier, you could probably easily knock off an hour's worth of time because we have to set up beauty shots like this all of the time when it comes to filming, and it does take so long. And you know what else takes so long? Packaging. And packaging just seems to take forever, especially when the cookies aren't super solidified. Keep in mind they had only been drying for about 5 hours or so. Even with the dehydration trick, it still is a little bit less time than I would personally like. But I also knew that this was going to be eaten by a bunch of 5-year-olds, so I really wasn't being that picky with myself. A lot of time went into creating multiple cupcakes because with multiple cupcake flavors comes multiple buttercream flavors. So although I made the fillings in advance to really help with that, it did mean that it still took a couple of hours to really get all of those buttercream flavors done. But Aliya is a cupcake expert, so she handled all of that while I worked on the cake. Okay, we are officially 1 hour and about 15 minutes away from the party. I should show up there 15 minutes early, and things are still a disaster, right, Aliya?
Yes, very much.
It's always the crunch time that makes me the sweatiest. So while Aliya finished all that stuff up, I decided to get cleaning on the kitchen a little bit so that we could actually take some of these beauty shots, because what is the point of making beautiful desserts if you can't display them in a nice way, right? So the ones with the mermaid tail coming out was just a classic vanilla buttercream specifically for the kids. And then we also had a lot of these filled with chocolate ganache, Nutella, salted caramel. We also had a Reese cup one, which was so good. It was filled with peanut butter and also had a peanut butter buttercream on top, and of course gold flake on everything.
And getting this final beauty shot at the end was painful because we had to clean so much stuff.
But Aliya was super happy that when she came out of the bathroom, everything was a lot cleaner than when she went in. Honestly, a huge thank you to Aliya for sticking it out and doing this all just out of the goodness of her heart. All I had said to her was, hey, do you want to help me with my niece's birthday desserts? And she was like, yeah, are we doing some filming and some videos? And I said, yes, here's the task list. And yeah, I don't think she expected this much baking. So I'm still trying to think of what I could do to say thank you in a big way. Now, I did feed her a lot of yummy treats, but I think that's definitely not enough. So let me know down in the comments below, what amazing thing can I do for Aliya?
This part is by far the worst. Let's get cleaning.
So after making all of the desserts, bringing the desserts to the venue, tidying up all of the dessert stands and displays, you get to clean for 3 hours, plus another 30 minutes to actually put everything away, and then eventually your kitchen gets to look normal again. That was so much baking and cleaning. My husband put away the rest of the dishes for me, and here we are, everything is back to normal, and that's really what it takes in order to put on those huge dessert spreads. It wasn't really that crazy of a setup. It was really just about making all of those dessert flavors, and everything got eaten except for a few cupcakes that we saved for ourselves. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!